365 Days of Horsemanship, day 100. I really should be doing this in a nicer setting, but it is so hot outside. We are in the middle of the heat wave, and I just cannot bear to sit anywhere else except in my car in the shade. So yes, I'm actually on day 102 now. It's been so hot I couldn't even bring myself to do any videos, but I can't possibly hold off any longer. The day 100, I really wanted to take a look back. I think I have had some new people join and start following my journey since the start, which is amazing. When I started this project, you know, it was just me in my car in the dark talking about my day, and you know, now I have people who comment on my videos, and you know, that really means so much to me, and I really feel blessed that my way of helping myself grow is also something that's interesting to other people. I think that's really amazing. And I just kind of wanted to take a look back at where I started. Recently, I've definitely been struggling with, I guess, plateaus. I think changes of direction, changes of circumstance. I think having to change my goals, changing my short-term goals made me question my medium-term goals and my long-term goals, and then made me question my whole idea about what goals are and how we should be progressing and what's really important and why I'm progressing and what really makes me feel good with horses. And it's been a tumultuous time mentally, definitely. It's been really tricky and challenging, and I think I just really wanted today to just have a moment of gratitude, because when I started this project, I had never consistently seen my horses every day for horsemanship. I had never consistently played with my horses or ridden my horses for a period of more than about 6 weeks. Before then it was like, a couple weeks of not, because I was too busy, or I lost my confidence, and then back and forth. And so for the first time ever, I committed to this project where every single day I would come and I would spend time with my horses doing horsemanship, even if it was just 5 minutes, and just see what that consistency gave me. See what I could learn from that consistency, and not put that pressure on to have everything be perfect, to have everything be, you know, to not have that pressure to come and ride and achieve great things every day and be here for hours upon hours when I don't have hours upon hours. And I just really said to myself, do you know what? That's the only goal I'm going to have, is I'm just going to say to myself, every single day I want to come. And when I started, I didn't really feel like I had a relationship with either of my horses anymore. I felt stagnant with both of them. I'd realized how it was so difficult with Mia, because I had been riding her so much prior to having my knee operation, and then spending that time with her, realizing that things were really messed up for her in her mind. Just really giving her that space, because I had no other options. You know, when I was healing and I was on crutches, I couldn't do anything else other than observe and watch and try to build a relationship from nothing, from just being in the field together and realizing just how messed up everything is for her and how difficult her feelings are and how shut down she is emotionally, how unwilling she is to be in a learning frame of mind and to be open to things, and how difficult she's decided everything is. And with, you know, good valid reasons in the past. And now we're in a place where sometimes, I would say maybe 50 to 60% of the time, she enjoys my company. That is amazing. That is huge. That's really, really huge. Some days still, you know, the other 40 to 50% of the time, I come in and she couldn't care less and she doesn't want to know me. And those days, I find it very difficult to not take that personally and to not have that be our entire relationship, you know, based on that one day. But actually, looking back across the last 100 days, you know, on day one, I was working on coming into the field and getting her to acknowledge me. Now, she always acknowledges me. Always. And maybe I take that for granted now, you know. Even when she acknowledges me and that's it for the rest of the session, she still does that 100% of the time. That's amazing. That's huge. You know, it's a huge progression, you know, in 100 days, where really in those 100 days, I would probably say my average time spent with her per day would be 10 to 15 minutes. I mean, some days I'm spending in, you know, half an hour, 45 minutes. Some days I'm spending 5 minutes, you know, so probably it's like 15 minutes per day on average for 100 days. And now my horse, well, now this horse feels happy in my presence and acknowledges my appearance. That's huge. That's really, really big. And I think that the difficulty, I think, with taking the slow freedom path is twofold. Firstly, it's for yourself, and secondly, it's for others. Because inside yourself, you learn to take the little things as being huge progress. And so then when you get a new little thing, you're like, oh, wow, this is amazing. But then that means that when you lose it, which is natural because progression is not linear, when you lose it, then it feels you don't have it one day. Then it feels like everything's gone back to nothing and you've achieved nothing and nothing has changed. And actually that's just the normal progression of things. You know, like when you first get a flying lead change, you get one and you might not get one again the next session. And then you might have to go back and try again. And then maybe on the session after that, then you get one. You know, it's not consistent. It's not consistent for a really long time. You know, sometimes you get it, sometimes you don't get it. You know, and it's the same with the freedom-based training, and it's the same with that horse's mindset. And there's so many other factors involved that, you know, that affect the horse's mindset. And I think that I've come a long way. I've come a really long way from where I was. I have a much better understanding of who Mia is. And I think we have a much stronger relationship now than we did have. And I think in another 100 days, if I think that we're going to be, because I couldn't have imagined at the start being where I am now. And even though, you know, where I am now, it's very easy to say to myself, oh yeah, but you want to be here. You know, you're not, you know, you want to be there, you're not there yet. Well, yeah, but I wanted to be here 100 days ago. Now I'm here. So where am I going to be in another 100 days, you know? So I'm really grateful for that. I think it's been a really amazing journey. A really amazing journey with Mia. And with Lawrence as well. Lawrence and I feel like we're in the golden years of our relationship now. I really feel like we're in the golden years. I feel like this is the best time of our lives together in a lot of ways. I think we've had some really magical, perfect sessions together where I couldn't have asked for anything else. We've had sessions where, and you know, at the beginning, he didn't really want to know me. You know, he was over it. It was like, you know, if I had something to offer him, he was happy, but he didn't want to be halted. He didn't want to come up. He didn't want to do this or do that or do anything with me. All of my ideas were too difficult for him. And we'd really lost that love and that connection and that open eye that he gives me, where he really lets me in and he's like focused on me and he just wants to know what I'm thinking or what we're doing together. And now we have that. We have that almost all the time. There have been a few days recently that we haven't had it. And I think that that's, again, you know, like knocked my confidence. But actually when I look back, I think, you know, I need to prop my confidence up more permanently, because when I look back at where we were at the start, I wasn't sure if we had anything left that we could do together, you know, and now I'm thinking that, well, hang on, I think the next step is to spend more time with him. I think he needs more time. I think he wants that time with me now. And I think that it's time to invest that. And I think that I might be ready to start investing that a bit more. And it's amazing, really, to be in that place after 100 days. Like, that's, you know, that's amazing. I think if I would say 3 things that I have really learned in these 100 days so far, I think I would say firstly that daily consistency is one of the key ingredients. And I think even for 5 minutes, I've had so many powerful sessions that have been 5 minutes long. And I think that there's definitely a place for longer sessions and shorter sessions. And I think I'm reaching a stage where I need some longer sessions now as well. But I truly believe there is value in every session, no matter how short it is. And I also think that it makes you feel so good. I feel so good about myself when I come here, even if I spend 5 minutes, because I'm not watching the clock. I don't set an alarm. I just go out there. I look for something good, some nice moment between us, and then I leave. And even that is so powerful, to go out there with that intention, saying, hey, how are you? I want to connect. What do you need? Do you need anything? Can we do something together? Just coming and offering yourself as a partner is so powerful, even if it's only for 5 minutes. And that's something that I've really taken away from this project so far. I think the second thing I think I would say is realizing that it's really not about the task. It's about the feeling. And I think it's the same with us. You know, like when you go and play sports with your friends, or go for coffee, or you go out drinking in the pub together, any of these things that you do, whatever your hobby might be that you meet your friends for, you don't remember the whole conversation necessarily. You might remember key aspects. What you remember is the way that they made you feel. And realizing that this is the same with horses was really huge for me, because it just made me realize that it kind of doesn't really matter what I'm asking them. If they're unhappy with the question, they're unhappy with the journey to get to the end result is never going to happen. Not only is it not going to be consistent, and not only is it not going to feel good, but it's actually not going to work. Because if the horse doesn't feel good about it, you're only going to make that task a more and more difficult and more negative thing. And realizing that was huge as well, because that changed the whole way that I played with Mia, changed the whole way that I approached problems, because I just approached the problem with, how do I make you feel better about this? And we didn't achieve very many things, but what we did achieve feels really solid. I feel that it's really solid now, that I could take her into that arena and I can walk around with her and I can put my hand on her shoulder and she can feel okay about that. That was never the case before. And it's a tiny thing. It's a tiny piece compared to what we see as our human goals. In the grand scheme of, I want to ride Grand Prix dressage, which is the end of the spectrum of how good do I want my horse's movement to be in a way that I can show it as a human being. There's a massive spectrum of tasks that need to be accomplished in order to make that happen. And I can walk next to my horse with my hand on their shoulder is a tiny piece. It's one stitch in the tapestry. But that stitch is really solid and it's not unraveling anytime soon. And that's huge to realize that. And I think leading on from that, I think the third thing that I think I've really realized is that the slower that you go, in some ways, I think the faster that you get. Because I think you create an environment where it snowballs. After those first few stitches are in, you know, those first few stitches are always the loosest, because you've got to tie all the little knots and you've got to make sure you've got a secure place to start from. And then you're stitching your tapestry. And I do really feel like it's definitely with me, I was coming to a place where the stitches were starting to come together. And now we've had to take a break and start on a different part of the tapestry. And that's been hard, but I do think that over the next 100 days, I will find the path with that. And with Lawrence, I think I'm starting to see now that he's ready to start taking these bigger stitches and these bigger strides. And now it's up to me to sit down and put the time into the tapestry. And it's a huge mindset shift. The horses feel like a necessity to me now. Coming to do the horses is like a part of my daily relief. It's a part of my daily routine. It's my meditation. It's my me time. It's something that I do to get away from everything else. And when I'm here, I'm not thinking about the rest of the world. And it's my escape. And I'm very protective of that now. And definitely recently, this last week, again, the world has piled a lot of stress on, and I've wanted to cut back and had to force myself to stay committed, and it reaped the rewards. I feel so much better for it. So it's been really life-changing for me already, to be honest. That sounds very dramatic, and I am quite a dramatic person, but it is life-changing. This has been huge. These have been huge leaps and bounds, and there's so much more on the horizon. You know, in 2 weeks' time, well, it's like a week and a half now, I'll be going to see Elsa again in the New Forest, and I'm so excited for that. I'm so excited to just keep building and keep climbing, and I have some more opportunities coming my way in the autumn as well, and that's going to be really exciting. And I'm really excited to take you all along on all the journeys and really just keep experiencing new things and keep this attitude together. And I'm really grateful for everybody that watches my videos. I really am. It just really means so much to me. And yeah, I just can't wait for the next 100 days. So thank you so much to everybody who's followed along so far. I'm going to keep reading my book. I'm still reading my book as well. For those of you who are wondering how that is going, I haven't read very much the last week. I've been renovating my house, which has been why I've been so busy. But once that's done, which should be in the next couple of days, then things get better again. So yeah, it's just like another point of pressure, and then it all releases. So yeah, all of that stuff still happening, and looking forward to the next 100 days.